Hello everyone, this is Dorrani and Dom from VG247.com. Dom, how are you?
I am not bad, thank you, mate. How are you doing?
I am doing great. More so because recently we went to play Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which is the first massive expansion for Monster Hunter Rise. And I think it's safe to say we both left pretty impressed. If there is one word or phrase that you could use to describe your playtime, we got to play about an hour and a half. If you have one phrase or one word to summarize it, what would it be?
Intense, I think.
Intense. That is definitely true because I got my ass kicked with these master rank monsters. But so we're going to be speaking about some of the new stuff and just our first impressions. The footage you're seeing has been provided by Capcom, and I'm sorry that it is the frame rate is a little low for some reason, but when we were playing it, it is perfectly fine. On Switch, of course, it's still just the 30 frames. And of course, PC, it will be unlimited frames and all of that good stuff. So we're just going to give you our first impressions. I think we both agree on this, Dom, that Monster Hunter as a franchise, as a game, they are investment games and they require a lot of personal touch and require a lot of hours to learn monster attack patterns for you to min-max and tailor your gear to your playstyle. And it would be impossible and it would be so reductive of us to give like concrete thoughts and impressions after only playing for an hour when this expansion could give people up to 200 hours of extra gameplay, you know what I mean? So what we're saying here is just take it lightly. This is just the core of
quick impressions from what we've played, and kind of like we didn't go deep. We played with one weapon each. I did sword and shield and you did axe.
Hammer.
Hammer. So yeah, we didn't kind of like go and explore all the different weapons. We fought two monsters that we're allowed to fight. One of them is returning from Monster Hunter Ultimate 4, and the other one is a brand new for Sunbreak. So we saw a little bit of it, but these are quite like hands-on impressions, but they are scratching the surface.
Yes, that's the best way to put it. Scratching the surface. So let's begin with the main thing that it felt so nice, and that is the fact that all of the weapons, so there's 14 weapons in Monster Hunter, right? And all of the weapons are getting new Silkbind skills, Silkbind attacks, and you can now swap them mid-hunt. So what you do essentially is, on the fly, before you even go into the hunt, you create two loadouts, and then you can swap those because they're on different scrolls, red and blue. And you press X and A. So you press your Silkbind, so it'll be your left trigger, and then X and A, and then it will swap you over. You can do that just mid-combat, and it feels so good to do, right? Because the evade you can do after you've swapped is so satisfying. And I said to Dom as well as we were leaving Capcom, I said, I think I'm going to speak about this for like 15 minutes, just this one feature here, because it feels so good to do. Monster Hunter is one of those games where the moves are satisfying to do, and it is added this one, and it just makes it that bit better. And I've got it in my notes here that it feels like an active reload for some reason. That's like the best way to like describe it. Like when you hit a nice active reload in like Gears of War or Returnal, for example, that's what it feels like. You can just keep going, And yeah, what did you think?
I think I agree. It's people have always said, and especially more recently with World and into Rise, that Monster Hunter feels like a fighting game. It feels like a Capcom fighting game specifically, Street Fighter or NBC or something like that. And I think with these new moves, it feels even more like that, and it's kind of pursuing that even more because your flowchart basically of attacks that you can do. So I'm Sword and Shield, so my flowchart can be little combo, switch skill, block, big move, right?
Yeah.
Now I can kind of flip over and do another switch skill in there and then put an evade in there. So if I know I'm winding up to a big combo and say the Seregios is going to be like, no, dude, get off me, I'm going to eject all my scales at you.
Yeah.
I can be like, oh, good try, mate. I'll avoid. I get some iframes in that avoid.
Mm-hmm.
And it just means that I can then go back, swing back, come in with an even bigger hit and be like, it lets me continue my flow uninterrupted. And for me, that's what I like most about Monster Hunter. If you're like wailing on a Rathalos and it does a tail swing and you roll under it and then start hacking at the tail, you feel like a god.
Yeah.
With the switch skills and the evade especially, it kind of gives you even more utility to move around and just kind of like feel like a master at your weapon. And it's
Yeah.
that kind of Monster Hunter fantasy that just, I don't know, it's such a small thing, and it means you're pressing about 80,000 buttons at the same time. But and so we had 60 minutes, so about almost 2 hours hands on over the course of what we played. And by the end of it, I think we were both starting to get to grips with the way our switch skills worked and the way we could sort of knit two different movesets together. And that is what the Monster Hunter, you say it's an investment game. Once you start getting close to it and then pairing how you control your movesets against the behaviors of the monsters, that's when that special sauce really starts like coming together in your mouth,
Yeah, it's fancy. It feels fancy.
Yeah,
It feels anime, and like you said, it's all about the situation that you and the monster are in, because you can have your build and your skills catered towards like evading and just your neutral game, but as soon as you knock that monster down, you can silk bind swap into your different move set, the move set that might be slower, harder to hit when the monster's on the move, and you can just land all of your hits in. And once the monster gets back up, you can silk bind swap back into your more elusive build and just keep it moving. I love it. All of the moves look great. I say all of the moves, but I just want to say I'm not sure who at Capcom, who in the developer team at Monster Hunter is pulling the strings here with what gets added, but Longsword seems to get everything nice and everything fancy. I'm a hammer bro, and I'm not gonna lie, the hammer move, it didn't feel the greatest. It didn't feel the greatest. I'm not gonna lie, it didn't feel like fancy. But when you see longswords, you're like, yo, they really did get everything, and they do have favorites over at Capcom, and it is longsword.
I like the way that the Hammer Bros and the Longsword guys, you're over there somewhere battling it out, and I'm just over here with my sword and shield, like putting oil on it, being like, yeah, whatever. it's gonna boost my attack up here. Yeah, that's fine.
A lot of people are quite excited that the oils are coming back.
Yeah,
a lot of people are quite excited, but they feel good. The silk bind attacks are a wonderful addition, and I can't wait to like really experiment and get actual builds going. Next, the follower quest. You've got some notes to say here. I've only got one or two things to say, but follower quest, companion quests.
Yeah, so I think these are probably going to be, I'm not sure whether they're going to be the headline thing, because Monster Hunter players, Monster Hunter players like Monster Hunter. You don't find casual Monster Hunter players, I don't think. They're all quite intense, right? I think if this is what Capcom do and what they pursue in the future, that might change. Back when Destiny kind of fell off the horse a little bit, and with Destiny 2 at the start of that, a lot of people that played that game went over to Monster Hunter World, weirdly. Like, it really picked up a lot of that kind of action player kind of audience. And I think maybe some of those people didn't stay up to go into Rise because some of the PvE stuff that they liked might have gone from World to Rise, right? It's a smaller game. It's on the Switch, of course, it's going to lose that. I think with the follower quests, that might change a little bit again, because it does give you a more single-player catered sort of thing to do. So basically, top-down level of these follower quests are, you're in the hub and someone in the world says, hey, I need this thing, or this monster's been terrorizing the local merchant. We need to go out there and sort it out. And then usually back in the previous games, you go out there and do that yourself, or you can take a mate with you. In these quests, you'll go with someone from the Monster Hunter world. And that is, A, it's good because it gives you more of an insight into the different characters, and it kind of like rounds them out more as like entities in the world.
Yeah.
And B, it lets you go out with people and see like styles that you might not otherwise see. In my friend group, for example, there's no one that plays Gunlance. So we go on a hunt, and there's like me on Sword and Shield, my mate doing Horn, someone else does like the bow, and someone might do a hammer or something.
Yeah.
I don't really play with Gunlance. The quest that we played, a guy called Arlo comes out with you, and he's got a Gunlance, and he's good with that Gunlance as well. So you're there watching him do these combos, and you're thinking, hey, that's sick, I had no idea he could do that. Or like, if you're up on like a vantage point jumping down onto a monster, he will level up with you, come up with you and wait, and then he'll jump down and do like an aerial combo as you do. So not only does this feel good from a kind of like seeing what's going on perspective, it also does really good from a kind of like AI perspective. I don't think Monster Hunter character player AI has been good. You've got your Palamutes and your Palicos, and they're okay. They're support characters. But these guys, they feel like humans. They feel like humans doing cool, fun.
They react well. They react really, really well to like what's happening.
I think I finished my hunt a little bit earlier than you, and I was watching on your screen, and I saw you knocked down the one you were hunting, and you went and set up a barrel next to its head, and then right there, at the
Yeah.
same time, Arlo sets up a barrel with you, and it's
Yeah.
like, these
That
guys,
blew
these are
me
better
away.
than human players.
Yeah. I was like, because you remember how shocked I was when that happened, right? So the monster was sleeping. I Monster Hunter thing to do. You set up barrels to get that wake up damage, and when Arlo, the companion, started putting down the barrels, I was like, what? Like, what's going on here? Because yeah, they've taken that into consideration, and these companions, they're not just mindless. You know what I mean? They're doing stuff. They're reacting. They're calling things out. They're saying, "We're gonna let's try and stun it. Oh, use that flash pod." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, do all
exactly.
of these things.
One of my worries from this as well would have felt like, in other games where you've got to do like a fetch quest or a companion quest, and you've got to look
Yeah.
after this idiot that's dragging you down and slowing you down.
Hmm.
With Monster Hunter, the better you get at it, part of the joy is going into a hunt and like nailing it in like 9 minutes or something that
Yeah.
feels really good. And I was thinking, what if I want to go and get my Rathian gear, for example, and I've got to take this follower and they're going to slow me down because they're messing up? No, man, they're helping you out more.
Yeah, they're beasts. If anything, you're helping the follower out. They're insane. You're the one helping them. You're dragging down the companion. If anything, they were doing bits.
There was a
Really,
bit,
go on.
my favourite bit in it was, and again, they can do stuff that human players can't as well. There's obviously like little set pieces that have been coded in there.
Yeah.
So at one point, Arlo was like, "Hang on, I've got a trick up my sleeve."
Yes, I was gonna say that as well. Go on, tell it. Go on.
And then like he leaves you alone, and you're like low on health, and you're kind of like dodging out of the way. The monster's in rage mode, and you're like, "Oh Christ! Oh God! I'm about to die. Where are you going? Help me, please, Jesus!"
Yeah.
And then like I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes later, he comes back in on the back of another monster, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
"The cavalry's here!" And then he knocks that monster out of rage, knocks it down on the ground, and gives you a chance to wail on it. So
Yep.
yeah, he's not there supporting you in the moment, but he's planning ahead to kind of try and help you out. I don't know, these quests, you can go into battle with up to 3 of your mates, and I think you can have more than one companion quest. We didn't see any of that at the time, but I think it is possible you can do that. And I was thinking, why would I do this when I could always do it with another player? But I think there is a very different kind of hype you get from these quests.
Yeah.
And they give unique rewards. So
Yeah, it's the unique rewards people are going to be doing it for. And you're always going to have downtime in Monster Hunter. Your friends are not always going to be there. So the follower quest, it's not just like a half-assed sort of just thrown in there. Like they've thought about the AI a lot, and it works really well. So the monsters we fought were a Lunagaron and a Seregios. And the Seregios was the companion quest, right? And then Lunagaron, that's the one we fought together. And
we had to end up catching because we were on our last cart.
Yeah.
Like, no.
The amount of carts was and it was me. It was me because I'm a flashy player. I was going for all the big moves, and when you're overzealous, it's you get caught out. And I got caught. Yeah, they hit.
You're there smashing around and being flashy. I'm just there hunkered down. My sword.
Yeah.
It's okay. We can get it.
Yeah, the Lunagaron hits like a truck. You think like Tigrex was bad with his combos? Lunagaron moves fast, and it's like 3 back-to-back attacks. Like the way he combos was insane.
It's that big tail whip one that can get you and juggle. Basically, like fighting games, you can get juggled. You can get juggled by its tail whip, and if you're in there and you haven't got any of your silk vines, you escaped left, you are done.
Yeah.
So
the pounce attack as well was kind of mad. Like moves quick. You have to really watch what he's doing. Like you do with every single monster, but you really have to like pay attention to what's going on because he will be on top of you so fast.
It's funny you bring up Tiggy because I think it does feel a bit like a Tigrex with a little bit of Nagakuga in there possibly as well. That kind of very whippy, fast, rampaging about. Whereas Tiggy will just do that silly little charge and it's like back, forward, and you get hit. This is much more focused, and if you get hit by one of the blades or something, you go and feel that, especially because it's ice element as well, right? I think.
Yeah.
So if you've got ice blight or something and you get hit by one of the attacks, that's a cart straight up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no breathing room. Yeah. It's just like, yep, I'm dead now.
It's also worth saying we played it on Master, so that's a new difficulty that's being added into Monster Hunter Sunbreak. It's basically G rank. It's what they're calling G rank for this game. It's the expansion, the new difficulty. You will only be able to access it once you've end game for the expansion, I believe. And yeah, so we all jumped into this. We've not played any Master Rank, and it's like, here is this incredibly aggressive monster that you don't know the moveset of. Go, and it's like, oh my god! And it is aggressive. That's the thing. I think the AI from this and the Seregios, sometimes in the lower ranks, the monsters might be a little bit. If you batter them up a little bit and bruise them, they'll stand there slobbering and they'll kind of get a little bit lazy. I think the more you batter these guys, the more aggy they get.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. I'm not gonna lie, but it was fun. It was the perfect amount of challenge. And as you said, we haven't played for a little while. And in Monster Hunter, it's not just your weapons. You need to think about these things, think about your hunts. So you need to prepare accordingly. Half of the game is preparation, bringing traps and the right things to heal yourself. And speaking of like healing yourself and blights and debuffs, Seregios with the bleed and his spikes. I just hate bleed so much, so much. It is so infuriating, but it is. That was a really fun hunt. I really did like that one. He's quick as well. A lot of aerial moves. He had a lot of aerial moves, but that was fun. I did like it.
It's the aerial moves, and it kind of reminds me, if anyone's played the played Rise since it was out, they introduced a monster called Betelgeuse. In the updates, and it kind of reminds me of that, but instead of the scales coming down and exploding, they just shred you.
Yeah.
So if you get caught in those, you bleed out, and you got to crouch to get rid of the bleed, but then you got to find the right time to do that, because if you're crouching, he's got like a whip move that can just flick you against a wall and just do you in. So yeah, it's intense. That these are the two monsters we've seen, and there's definitely more to come. I don't think they've all been announced yet, but I think we're definitely going to see some real hard, good, proper end game level stuff.
Yeah.
In this expansion.
And they're on new maps as well. The new maps look nice. There's a castle map, very much vampire sort of themed castle, but outside the castle there is this whole there's like a high ground, and so it's like 3 stages of this, right? That I noticed. So it's like the neutral, and then there's like an underground, and then there is stuff above, but like loads of not hills, mountains, but yeah, really nice verticality on these maps.
If you're in a fight with one of these things, the Monster Hunter joy, isn't it? The standard thing. If you're in a fight with the monster and you get flicked off, like I say, if you get that tail whip gets you, get knocked down 3 levels into the next zone. You're like, now I've got to get all the way back up there. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. At least this time they don't make you use wire bugs or stamina to run up walls.
Yeah, which is an amazing quality of life addition.
Exactly. It means you can get back into the fight quicker.
Yeah, there's quite a few quality of life quality of life additions. The main one that people will see often is that when they're attacking monsters now, when they're down for wyvern riding, before it would automatically initiate you into the wyvern riding once you hit them. Now that's not a thing. Now you have to press the designate button to go into that wyvern ride, and I think that's a good thing because it doesn't force your play style. It doesn't just like completely stop the hunt, which is nice.
Because you might want to be focusing on trying to get its tail off, and if it's down, you don't want to ride it when you can have 30 seconds slicing its tail or something,
Yeah, pretty much.
And then also, speaking of wyvern riding, there's new endemic life that can actually make it more worthwhile. If sometimes if you're in an arena and it goes down, you have to ride it. You just kind of go bonk, bonk, bonk off 3 walls, do bits of damage, and then you get back into laying into them. This time you can there's bugs that live on the wall that will cause an explosion, or like things like that. That again, handy for breaking parts, handy for upping the stun, handy for all that kind of stuff. It just kind of gives you more options. It gives you more freedom in how to make the hunt go the way you want, as the animals are fighting back in the way that they do.
Yeah, and hopefully you can see that in the gameplay, because I think I used 1 or 2, but I know there's gameplay coming up of the new endemic life being used. So loads of utility. I'm looking at the timer now, and we are coming to the end. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we need to mention, but no, I don't think so. Really, I don't think there's anything else that we can say for now.
No, I think that's good. I think it's just worth saying that this is if you like Rise, you'll like this. It's just Rise plus 10. It's more. Yeah. It's all better, and I think it's basically going to be an essential expansion.
Yeah, absolutely agree. More Monster Hunter. And as you said, there's no Monster Hunter players that half step. If you're a Monster Hunter fan, you are a Monster Hunter player, 100 hours, 200 hours. You love it. And this is just even more with so many more new additions for yourself, new monsters for you to beat up. Basically, it is wicked, and I can't wait to experience the rest of it. To be honest, I'm really looking forward to Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak on June 30th.
Bring it on.
Wicked. My name is Dorrani from VG247. This is Dom, of course. Peace out, everyone.